Well, I touched on it briefly about marrying a woman and then she has children. I want to talk about being a step grandparent because there's a lot of that, and it's probably going to be even more as you get older. Step grandparents. I mean, how do you deal with that as a man, as a step grandfather? How do you deal with that? Is that something that comes natural? Is it something that's a little bit complicated? How do you deal with it? For instance, let's just say you married this lady and she has um, her daughter at home, and the daughter's had a baby, and now you got this step grandchild, right? And you say, well, it's a happy, joyous occasion, and anytime there's a baby that's born healthy, it should be a joyous occasion. But the thing to look out for is that those children grow up. And now, how will they turn out as they grow? What would happen? I know a lot of people could say, and probably will say, well, these are kids, and all kids are good kids, and it's just a matter of how you raise them. Now, is that true? I mean, think about it. Would you say that you take in um, Charles Manson's grandchild and raise it and say, well, he's going to come out to be just great? How about the guy Bundy? Would you say, well, yeah, I'll raise his grandchild. I'll be the step grandparent, and he's going to come out fine. Well, is that a chance you're willing to take? Because I think a lot of times when some of these women who have children and their children have children, in other words, you marry the woman and she's a grandmother at 40, at 45, at 50, whatever the case may be, and um, you decide that you're going to help raise that child as a step grandfather. I mean, is it important to find out about the child's background or the grandchild's background? Is that important on who the father was? What if the father was a murderer and he killed several people? Does that make a difference? Do you still say, oh, well, it's a cute little baby? And then when the baby gets 5 or 6 years old, the baby is continually in and out of trouble. I mean, does anything go off? I mean, do you think, is that something to think about, or is that something not to think about? Or you say, well, I'm gonna deal with it. And what if the baby is a habitual liar, but you found out that the father was a big time liar, was a bully, beat people up, used to rob and steal all the time? Does that have any influence on the child? I mean, is that so? You're willing to take that chance and say, well, okay, well, that was him, but the baby, we're going to raise the baby differently. I mean, is that something to even consider when you're saying you're going to help raise a step grandbaby as a man? Is that something to consider? What if that stepchild lashes out at you? There you are, you've helped raise the step grandbaby, and now the step grandbaby is 8 years old, and the step grandbaby does something that you don't particularly like. I mean, do you have the authority to discipline the child, the step grandbaby? Do you have the authority to do that or not in your home? I mean, do you just go on and say, well, me and my wife, we're going to work it out with this, with the grandbaby. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. And what happens if, of all that you've done, that step grandbaby still turns out to be just like their father? with the father's temper. Again, you don't know. I mean, what if the step grandbaby, what if the father had a terrible temper, uncontrollable? And then the baby turned out to have this uncontrollable temper. I mean, are you willing to take that chance on going to sleep at night thinking that, this baby may walk into the bedroom and stab me or injure me in some type of way? Is that even a thought? Is that something that would even cross your mind? Does it make a difference? Well, I think in a lot of cases when a man decides he's going to be accepting his wife and daughter or even the son, and you're going to be the step grandparent, right? I think it's important that you go and investigate who is that baby's daddy. I know I would. Because again, I mean, if it didn't make a difference, then I think if somebody said, well, this is Charles Manson's offspring, I don't think you'd be in such a big hurry to just say, oh, it's such a beautiful baby. We're going to raise the baby. The baby's going to be just great. Might even become the president of the United States. Not to say it couldn't happen, but I mean, come on. You're willing to really take that chance. So anyway, I just thought it'd be something to talk about because there's going to be a lot of step grandparents, especially with men. Because, like I said, these women, these women, they've had kids and daughters, in particular, and the daughters get pregnant. They have children. They're not going to kick those daughters out. They're going to bring the daughter in with the grandbaby, and then the next thing you know, your wife, she becomes attached to the grandbaby, and they become inseparable. Where does that leave you? I mean, does it make a difference? So, I just thought I'd talk about that and see if anybody has had any experiences with being a step grandfather or even step grandmother, where it's been either good or bad. Anyway, let me hear from you.